I'm so upset at this shit, man. So upset at this shit. I'm upset. I'm upset because people are making sure that black, brown, young, and old people don't get a right to vote. They want to make sure that it's harder for folks who have the ability to vote can't, especially when it's not in the interest of those who are already in power. As some of you may know, President Biden, passed an executive bill to make it easier for people to vote who are eligible. The reason why I'm upset is not because of that. It's because the reason why he had to do that is because, particularly in states like Georgia, who just passed the House Bill 531, to make it hard as fuck to go vote. We know there was no fraud in the election, but these trash ass human beings are making it harder. So people who are eligible to vote cannot. What does that fucking look like? Why, Terrence, are you so fucking upset? My nigga, the early registration and early voting days, they want to cut the hours for that. So say yo, okay, it's Sunday, you can go vote. You have until 6 o'clock, 9 to 6. Nah, nigga, let's make that shit 9 to 12. What? Nigga, I'm not even awake. So cutting the hours to vote. Making sure that you can't actually put your absentee ballot in. Requiring 2 fucking IDs to vote when you're in person. Nigga, I'm a trans motherfucker, suave as motherfucking hell. You know how hard is it for me to get a fucking ID still? And I work at a really dope national organization that helps people who are trans and non-binary get IDs that matches their lived experience. And with COVID, it made sure not made sure. With COVID, it closed the courts. Everyone had to stay fucking home, which made it harder for people who are in the process, like myself, to get all my IDs matched. Social Security, driver's license, birth certificate, all that shit lined up. Hard as fuck. Keep niggas safe. To continue the process of getting our name changed and IDs. And you want niggas to bring 2 pairs of IDs when you get to it. We also know, right, folks who are not trans nor non-binary, that your state ID, especially particularly in New York City, is not the same as the ID you get for free from your local library is not a valid state ID. Even though it has your name, it has your address, has your birthday, right? But niggas want there to be 2 forms of ID when you get to the poll. How many of you have 2 forms of identification on you at all times? Picture ID. It's frustrating because over 200 bills, they're going state by state, have been put forward to prevent people from voting, to make it hard as fuck. Senior citizens came out in a motherfucking cold, waited long-ass lines. They wrote in certain bills that you cannot provide food and water to people who are on these lines. You cannot provide chairs to folks who cannot stand. Niggas, you cannot collect people's bill. So your grandma just nigga, can you go into the store or go buy me something and take my ballot and drop that shit off? No, hey, grandma, I can't do that. I can buy something from the store, but I can't actually take your ballot and drop it in the mailbox because that's illegal. I'm so fucking upset at how hard they're trying to make this and how powerful they know we are. And how much that frightens them and how they'll do anything to take our power away. Son, there are bills everywhere to say don't vote. And civic engagement is important, and it's not the only way that we flex our power as a community. But they do know how to make this shit harder. So shout out to all my canvassers, my first time voters. Also, like, I understand, like, again, civic engagement is not going to reflect our power. And so understanding people didn't vote the last election, like, this is not what my venting is about. My venting is about the fact that, like, this shit is exhausting, the work that we do. Yesterday was the massacre that happened on the bridge of Selma, right? When John Lewis and MLK and thousands of unnamed individuals walked the bridge and got hosed, dogs bit their asses. And then following that was the voting act right. Act right, my niggas. Act right. Like, these cowardly Republicans, these cowardly conservatives say that they create a narrative that says, they're doing this to create more security. When there was no fucking election fraud. Y'all just tight. And you say that these are not at all lookalikes, mimics, copies of the voter suppression laws that required Black folks to pass a literacy test before they could fucking vote. It's the same thing. Voter suppression comes in all forms, and it's definitely happening right now. And they're doing this shit early, and they're doing this shit a lot. They're going state by state. And, right now, the Georgia House bill has to go through Senate. Hopefully it doesn't pass through Senate, but, like, the fact that it passed through House means that, like, nigga, there is a lot of work to be done. And, nigga, I understand if you just want to go to bed, because I do too. But when you wake up, when you choose to wake up, I'll be with you, working to make sure everyone who has the ability and desire to vote does, and have equal access to that shit. Especially for our seniors out there who don't have many opportunities and chances to vote, especially for our young folks out here who don't always feel valued, that their voice is heard. Because trust, niggas do make that very abundantly clear that they don't want their voices to be heard. So niggas keep shouting out. I'm going to turn up to some Big Sean and Nipsey Hussle and Sampa the Great. That's what I was listening, and the KLA 47. That's what I was listening to earlier, and that's what I'm gonna continue listening to. Let's do this work. And fuck these assholes, man. I'm just venting because I'm tired, nigga. I'm tired.